Hello everyone, my name is Mel, and once again we're playing Angels With Scaly Wings. I am joined with Dev,
Now, hellos.
Corgi,
Hello there.
Aeros,
Hello there.
Dronon,
He's brushing his eyebrows again.
there we go, and Sky.
Hi! I make jokes.
See, Dronon has two eyebrows, so you had to do it twice.
And sadly we're currently missing Dawnbreaker, so that's fine for now. We will make do with what we have. And to recap, only not recapping again. Oh, we're totally recapping for the first time. So, yes, our protagonist is now among dragons. They were initially greeted by Remy, the precious bean dragon. We of course met up with our human partner Reva, and of course Maverick, the always angry Maverick. Sebastian, Anna. Later on, we were introduced to Andine, then Lorem, then bad things ensued when we met up with Reva in secret.
Rez. When Rez.
No, it's Reva.
Reza.
Reza. I kept calling her Reva. Oops. Reza.
Reva the engine. Reva.
Reza. I'm sorry. When we went to meet Reza in secret, Maverick also interrupted the meeting, and Reza, out of nowhere, decided to shoot him, injuring him. It was that, as then, of course, we were introduced to the final main cast, which is Bryce, and later learned that Reza might have killed another wyvern, different wyvern, with no name. We don't know their name. A red shirt.
And all we know about the wyvern is it looked like they were killed by using a cutting instrument.
Which is weird since he has a gun.
They explained it.
Yeah.
It's too loud to use a gun.
Guns make
And
noises.
it is a nameless wyvern.
Yeah, shooting a gun is very noticeable in Drakey World since nobody else there has guns.
But yeah, we've ended the day with a hangout with Andine, playing Truth or Dare, and then we met up with Lorem, who we found out was making a video game, a Sims type game, and was trying to include humans in their game.
Also known as Blue Davwyn.
Yes.
Blue Davwyn. Well, he is really good, Blue Davwyn.
Anyways, are we ready to get? Are we now officially ready to get started?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Then let us continue with Chapter 2. Another day, another morning. I awoke from dreams filled with fire and smoke. The sun shining through the window gave me a comforting feeling of familiarity, despite the portal in the distance reminding me of my purpose here. I looked towards the horizon, my view undisturbed by dividing walls. The light of the morning sun was painting the sky with golden hues. A view that had become a rarity back home. It evoked a feeling of freedom and openness that was almost scary to me. While I got ready for the day, my thoughts strayed to the people I knew back home. I couldn't help but wonder how they were doing. But I had greater things to worry about at the moment, like Reza, murders, and generators. How much danger was I in, really? Ding dong.
Hey, Mel.
Hey, Chief. More bad news? Please tell me it's not more bad news.
Not quite. Unless you count Reza's still missing is bad news, but that's kind of why I'm here.
Well, what is it?
Just some good old-fashioned police work. We're counting on your help. Again.
I'm not really looking in the mood to look at a corpse again today.
Don't worry. We have something else planned.
Paperwork.
We obtained a list of places Reza visited in the days before he vanished. We'll check those out, maybe find a lead, and you might help us understand his motivations or give us some context to his actions.
I can certainly try.
I'm sure you'll do a great job.
Rose is a little faint compared to me. I could always turn my volume down if that helps.
You know, Aeros up a little bit.
I'll have to do it straight up in Discord. I'll boost arrows up to 200. Back to this.
Test.
That is reassuring.
Are you ready to go?
Oh no, you're not causing your problems. You're just kind of helping us out because we can't hear from your end.
Sure, let's go.
There's a couple of places we can check out. Let's see where we should go first.
While Bryce focused on his list, I saw someone approaching out of the corner of my eye. A closer look revealed that it was Sebastian, waving his arm in an attempt to get our attention as he ran toward us, his face grave. Dronon.
There you are, Chief. I was looking for you.
What are you doing here?
All the tones went serious again.
Don't tell me there's another dead person.
You mean dragon?
Sorry, Chief. There is.
Oh, I'm gonna... Hold on a sec. I'm gonna see if I can... Music is pretty loud. I'm gonna...
It was good for me.
Yeah, you gotta play your not mute. There we go.
down a little bit.
Damn it! Guess it's going to be one of those days.
Yeah, looks that way.
Someone else can take care of that today, though. We've got other plans.
You'll need to sign off on a few things at least.
Paperwork.
I know. We'll go to the crime scene, sign a few forms, and then we're out.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Okay.
Oh.
When we arrived at the scene, I saw the poor victim next to one of the houses. The obligatory sheet that was draped over him provided a modicum of discretion, but did nothing to hide the crime that had occurred.
Alright. Give me the story.
It's an interesting one, that's for sure. The wounds match those of the last victim, so a similar, if not identical, murder weapon is likely. The victim, maintenance person for this area, and the electricity is out. Power goes out, maintenance guy shows up, and is killed before he can fix the problem. At least that's my theory.
So the power for the whole block is still out?
That is correct.
We should get that fixed as soon as possible. We don't need civilians showing up around here complaining about sitting in the dark.
Point.
Bryce's snout wrinkled. I default to snoot.
Snoot.
I default to snoot. Bryce's snout wrinkled with distaste as he glanced over Sebastian's shoulder.
Yeah. Not again.
What is it?
Oh boy.
Angry face.
What are you doing here, Maverick?
A second victim, huh?
This is an official investigation, so you better not cross that police line.
Shunned by my own colleagues. This is ridiculous.
You know how it is. Rules are rules, and without rules, murders like this one would be allowed to happen and go unpunished.
Have fun then without me.
What do you think you wanted here, Chief?
That one's easy. To do his own investigation, just like he said he would. I shouldn't be surprised that he showed up, but I guess we're lucky we arrived before he did.
I agree.
We better check that power outage out now.
Of course. I think the door to the maintenance room is right around here.
Got your flashlight, Seb?
Always, Chief.
You should go first then. I don't have my stuff here. Besides, putting on that head mount is such a hassle.
I remember. You complain about that every time it comes up. There. That should do the trick.
And once again, flashlights in video games are so small and so pathetic. People, buy better flashlights. Come on. Why can we never afford good flashlights in video games?
Gee, they should have asked for human LEDs instead.
Read the prequel, you'll understand.
There's a prequel? What?
Yes?
Wait, this is new. You just stay behind me, Mel. All right?
Okay.
God, hate these stairs. Especially those made for smaller dragons like yourself, Seb.
Trust me, having it the other way around isn't too great either.
I just say nothing.
Kind of reminds me, when we found that underground base or whatever it was. Remember, Chief?
How could I not? It wasn't that long ago, actually.
Underground base?
Yeah, the portal wasn't the only piece of ancient technology we found. There was also this whole lab near it. It seemed to have some high-tech stuff in there. At least that place didn't have as many stairs.
Dav theory thickens.
Wait, so you not only found the portal, but a whole facility along with it?
Yes, but we're not sure how much the two are actually related. We spent all that time studying the portal and barely got anywhere with it. The stuff is just, well, beyond everything what we know.
Here we are. So what exactly are we looking for?
Whatever's causing the power outage. If we don't find the cause, we should at least be able to get the backup setup running.
Well, looks like the generator is gone.
Well, mystery solved.
The sound of creaking metal penetrated the stillness of the room. I looked above toward the source of the noise as it grew louder, and in the next instant, I was pushed sideways and fell to the ground, just barely avoiding the giant light fixture that fell from the ceiling and shattered into countless pieces alongside me.
Mel, are you alright?
The next thing I saw was a hooded figure standing above me, barely visible against the darkness that permeated this room. The figure crouched down next to me, its mask hovering right in front of my face. Merely a whisper reached my ears when it spoke.
Be careful, Mel.
Then, the figure dashed towards the stairs.
Where's it going?
That is not me!
Don't move!
He's gone up the stairs!
Come on.
Jordan, you're kind of breaking up here and there.
I'm on it. Didn't see that chair coming.
I can't see a damn thing in here!
Here, Chief.
I hate these stupid stairs.
You're blocking the way.
Just go around me!
There's no room. You're as wide as the stairs are.
I can't help it! Damn it! Ah, we'll never catch him now.
By the time we found our way up, the mysterious figure was nowhere to be found.
We've got a long search ahead of us. With a head start like that, there might be no end to it.
We have to take our chances as long as we still can.
Bluster Ringcorn. Lost it because Bryce was too fat. He's not too fat, he just
Not
has
fat, I'm big boned.
he just has a little too much hip.
He's also quadruped, which makes it a bit harder.
Except that chance is growing smaller and smaller while we wait for the team to arrive.
What even happened down there?
Right. Mel, tell us everything in as much detail as you can.
There wasn't much to it. I heard a noise. I looked up. The light fixture came down. And someone pushed me.
You mean Reza?
I'm not so sure.
Well, didn't you see him?
Whoever it was wearing a mask.
It bloody well can't be someone else, so let's not kid ourselves here.
Why would he wear that whole getup, though?
Maybe some sort of camouflage?
Good point.
This whole thing doesn't make any sense.
All right, let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture here. Your earlier theory about what happened was pretty sound, Sebastian. So let's go with that and add the bit about the generator being stolen. So now the question is, who has a motive for stealing a generator?
Reza.
Right. Who else would need to steal a generator when those who live here could either buy or even simply request one? Not to mention, Reza was the one who arranged the diplomatic trade for the generators in the first place.
I can't deny the fact that your generators are pretty important to us, but resorting to murder?
We saw the human figure running away.
But why would he have stayed here if he stole it? I mean, what? Of course, it's one of those ones where it adds more text. Why would he remain here if he was the one who stole it? The generator was already gone when we got here, and the person in question wasn't carrying it either.
Maybe it's the case where the criminal has returned to the crime scene.
For this kind of crime, I'd say no. But who knows? Maybe our rules just don't apply anymore.
What do you mean?
No offense, but ever since you two humans arrived, there have been a lot, and I mean a lot, of strange things going on. This place used to be a quiet town.
You know, you're starting to sound a little bit like Maverick.
Yeah. To be fair, we saw a human running away from the crime scene. Given what we know so far, there's only really one option.
Maybe we should just focus on finding him and point fingers later.
Agreed.
The police team will be here any minute now. You don't have to get involved with the search, but that doesn't mean you can't help us.
What do you want me to do?
We still have the list of places we're going to check out, remember? We can't go now. The search takes priority. Of course, we'll still check out those places after we're done here. But if you go on your own, you can speed up the process. You could even find a lead for us. Who knows?
Sure thing, I guess.
Great. Here's the list. Considering your status, you shouldn't have any trouble in these places. But if anything happens, give me a call, and I'll check up on you later.
Wait a minute. You mean I'm going all by myself?
All of us are going to be busy with the search, and we can't really afford to spare someone right now. Besides, I'm sure you'll be fine.
Aren't you worried I'll do something fishy? I mean, isn't that why Rez and I were assigned as police escorts in the first place?
That policy was mostly Maverick's fault. And he's out of the picture. With my authority as chief, I say you can go alone. I already know where you're going. And besides, I trust you. If you're in cahoots with Reza, you would have ran off with him when you had the chance.
Good point.
Ah, I see the team approaching. Guess you should get going.
All right. I'll see you later then.
Good luck.
It was a relief to leave the crime scene, considering all that had happened. When I reached into my pocket to take a look at the list, however, I found something unexpected. It was a small piece of paper with the word Katsu written on it. How did it get there? My earlier encounter with the masked person was the only time today someone was close enough to smuggle something into my pocket. I figured if someone like Bryce tried to do something like that, I definitely would have noticed. As for Tatsu, the only related thing I could think of was Tatsu Park, which I had come across when I went to the police station the other day. Even if that park was the place the mysterious paper referred to, I didn't know if it was actually a good idea to visit. The masked person may have saved me from the falling light fixture, but if it was Reza, it would mean following someone who was also the prime suspect of 2 murders. I also had to consider the list of places Reza had been to: a local grocery store, the production facility we had visited, and the library were the 3 places closest to here. It certainly was going to be a busy day, and I knew I wouldn't have time to visit all of them. Well, what should I do?
Is this something we should call
Poll
pull
time,
up, or
everyone!
poll it is?
So Mel, since you're playing this game, do you kind of know what each location has already?
Roughly. Again, I'm also going by my faulty memory, so...
I remember most of them. The problem is you have to go through each. Again, this is a multi-playthrough game.
Yeah.
Poll is up, everybody.
We have 3 for the park, 1 for store, 1 for library. Oh, production facility got 1.
I think I have an idea of which place we're going to. Previously, this game had a search multiple times thing, which I think was unfair, but I believe a change log that was recent removed that.
What do you mean by that? Search several times.
It was an unfair thing where you examine everything, but you have to examine everything multiple times to move the plot forward.
That sounds tedious.
Well, it was only in that one location, and I believe they removed it. I won't say what, but I believe you only have to search once.
I think I know which spot that one is too.
It's almost over.
Who's gonna win? Who's gonna win? Who's gonna win? Because I voted Tatsu Park.
Get out.
Oh, I'm going to the park.
Tatsu Park it is.
To the park.
The library would have had the really cute white bean dragon.
For me.
Yes.
Right, it's the park it is.
Tatsu Park, here I am. I don't know what I'm even looking for, though. Oh, let's read the sign. This park is dedicated to our creator, to whom we owe our sentience and existence. As it is our duty to remember, this place honors them every day, and its beauty and grants a place of recreation and contemplation to all of us.
That's the second time the creator was mentioned. The little blue dragon mentioned the creator too.
Let's
Dragons keep saying that the humans created them.
Let's search the shrubbery. Yes, this totally won't look strange or suspicious. Here we go.
Oh, that looks strange and suspicious.
Found some dirt. Doesn't seem to be anything else here. I found a handful of dirt.
Yay! Do it again.
Is it in your inventory?
You don't have an inventory.
Yeah.
Do it again! I want more dirt!
Look at the map.
When you're supposed to dig up dirt on somebody, I don't think that's how you're supposed to do it.
Wait. Have I been doing it wrong this whole time?
Yes, by the sound of it, I believe so.
This park is bigger than I thought. I could go north towards Tatsu Avenue, which is apparently a nice spot to look at the landscape, or south to the political district. Where should I go?
Or you could just get more dirt.
If there's another Tatsu, I'd assume you'd want to go towards the other Tatsu if there's nothing at this Tatsu.
That's my thought. I say go north.
All right.
But I want to play in the dirt.
No, we're not playing the dirt. We're going north, Skirt. We're not playing.
Not a sandbox game.
No, dirt box.
Examine the fallen leaves. I don't recognize the species of tree.
Sit on the bench.
All right.
And take a
That
rest.
bench does not look comfortable for dirts.
Finally, a place to sit down. The view of the scenery is perfect. System, you appreciated the landscape for a bit. That was nice. I was just about to get up when I noticed someone sitting next to me. Whoa, I didn't see you there. I thought you were a statue or something.
Is this a female
Aw, heart
male?
lock
Hello?
thingy.
I mean, I guess we can have Dav do the voice for this guy as well.
the voice.
Yes.
Is it male, female?
Do
Don't
we
know.
have any personality for this one?
No,
It says drama.
it's a cameo.
Rando.
It's a cameo one.
No, it's what is Kickstarter story? It says drama of
It has
alien.
no dialogue whatsoever.
Well, maybe it is a statue, or I just turned invisible. Hope it's not the latter.
It's orange, Dav.
It's-
Really? The dragon didn't move or say a word?
no.
Nope.
I guess that's all the Kickstarter's
Right.
going to give you.
Let's open the hatch. On the metal covering of the hatch, there are two buttons, which are situated on to the left and the right of a central circular lever. The arrow on the lever is pointing up.
I gotta ask, this is now two Kickstarter dirks that are extremely like me. Did a whole bunch of Dav clones want to get this game kickstarted?
Yes.
I gotta
I'm
find out
surprised
who
you-
this blue and orange dirk are. Just go, hello, friends.
Do we know how to open this?
No. We can't open this yet. Or at least, I have no freaking clue how to open it. I've never figured out how.
Bill, do you want to call a dragon for help?
No.
I'm pretty sure.
No.
I mean, I know how to open it, but I'm not going to tell you. I already gave you my hint that you ignored.
What?
What?
You didn't give us any hints.
I gave you like 3.
Okay, name them.
You said digging dirt. That's
Yes, that was the hint.
All right, we'll go back to the dirt then.
I thought you said that they got rid of the thing where you have to do the dig in the dirt more than once, or
I wasn't
do the thing
sure.
more than
Again?
once.
I guess I should look harder this time.
You used your 50-50 yet.
No, it seems there's still just dirt to be found here. I don't think I'll need more than what I already have.
Again.
Okay, sometimes you gotta be a
Right.
little more direct.
I'll load harder this time.
Okay, I don't
No, just
understand
dirt.
how you would be expected to find this.
Should we do it again, Sky?
What the hell? It was there last time. It
But
had
this
unique
part of the
text
game?
though.
I-
It was in the park,
Yeah,
and
But it is
it was a
part of the game?
required item.
I think
yeah, I remember this.
I think this is one of those things where it might not pop up right away. Like it may only show up like when it,
On a later date or something, yeah.
like
I
later-
know it's possible to get some of the special items before you're even made aware of them.
I have a feeling it's just a waste of time at the moment.
Yeah. Let's search the pavilion. Never know when you find it around a pavilion. Let's do this. Found something. It's a round, smooth orb.
Really?
About the size of a bowling ball.
Is that what we're looking for?
Not sure what it is,
Yes.
but I'll take it with me, just in case.
They
Acquired
moved it from the bush
mysterious-
to the pavilion.
mysterious orb.
Oh.
See, you had to search the bushes 3 times to get it previously. Now they made it so it's on the pavilion.
Well, we got an orb now.
Yep, we found the thing.
Meanwhile, the dragons really have to wonder what the human habits are around bushes.
He's marking his territory, obviously.
No.
No.
I
No.
mean, that's
This
what
is where you see it. This is where you see a dragon walking over with a bunch of garbage bags.
Anyways,
I mean,
let's
that's what humans do, right? They mark
gloves.
their territory.
let's head to the political district.
Oh boy.
Just as I entered the southern part of the park, I found myself tumbling to the ground when someone suddenly bumped into me. Ow!
How dare?
Ow, that sounds like you broke a bone.
Alright, shall I roll the dice to see who gets the voice of this random character?
Roll the dice. Random, go.
Okay, since there's only... Hold on, there's only 4 of you here, so where's my d4?
No, there's 6.
Roll a d10.
Yeah.
Oh, d6.
There's 1, 2, 3.
Well, I
Sky.
kind of crapped myself.
Well, there's 5 here, technically.
Alright.
Then roll a d6.
D6. Right. And we'll just count this. If it lands on 6, I'll just re-roll. Because I'm not arguing with myself.
I'll do the character.
Well, I actually landed on 5, and I was going to say you're 5, so...
I'll do the character.
Yes.
Sorry about that. Are you alright?
Besides being a little dirtier than before, I think so.
Weren't you just digging in dirt?
No.
I should really look where I'm going. Sometimes I just get lost in my thoughts.
Hey, I think you dropped this.
Oh, thank you. You're a nice human.
Ghost stories, huh?
Yep. Oh, I should probably go before the bookstore closes. Bye.
Bye.
Yoink.
These dragons are really cool about seeing humans around.
Oh, there's someone sitting on the benches. Let's go approach them. Ah, yes, it's her. I knew she was gonna be here.
Oh my goodness, she's so sassy.
She looks like a
looking.
Nido Queen.
So, Corgi, do you think you could do sassy and uptight?
I'm gonna probably do my my bee voice. I'll do my bee voice from Night in the Woods.
Okay.
Yeah. What's the most pleasant surprise meeting you here, Mel? Do you know who I am?
I'm afraid I don't.
Let me fill the gap for your knowledge. My name is it Emra? Did I read that right?
Yes.
My name is Emra, and I'm the Minister of Culture and the Arts.
I see.
And what brings you to here today, Mel?
I'm not quite sure of that myself.
The park does have an appeal that naturally draws people in, I would know, since I'm partly responsible for creating it. Have you seen the North Side yet? If not, you totally should. It is pretty this time of year.
You created this park?
Well, some of it. Do you see the building behind me? That's where I work. Do you want to know a secret? The park was built here so I can enjoy going outside on my breaks. Like right now, for example.
Can I ask you a question?
You can ask for sure, but whatever I can answer is a wholly another question. Or it is not.
Yeah.
What do you want to know?
I'm asking about her job. Can you tell me more about your job?
I would, but I think overall it's a very boring affair. It involves a lot of reading and talking and approving, objecting forms and projects. Blah, blah, blah. Paperwork. It has its perks, though. In some ways, I'd certainly be happy when my term is over. If you minister once, that's something people will remember for you. Even if those times are long past, no one can ever take that away from you ever again.
You mentioned your term ending. How does that work here?
Well, we ministers serve our term and then someone else takes over our place. Only one minister at the time, though. Technically speaking, any person can become a minister, though there are certain standards and requirements that must be met in order to apply for office. I don't want to bore you with the details. That would be too long and tedious affair.
Alright, I'll ask about Tatsu Park. Can you tell me more about this park?
Well, I'm not so sure that's much to say about it. It just opened recently, and I think the initial request was more open spaces, like a dedicated place for people to gather and such. If you read the plaque, you would know that the park was dedicated to our so-called creator. I say creator like that because that word is a bit of a misdemeanor. I suppose it's still people still use it regardless.
Misnomer, not misdemeanor.
Sorry, misnomer. Excuse me.
Alright, ask about my visit. What do you think about us visiting this world?
You and Reza? Well, I think it's about the most exciting thing that's happened here in the last few years. It has been a nice distraction from the other boring things I have to do all at work.
How so?
Arranging your Bible is partly my responsibility. In fact, I would have been at the portal to welcome you myself if something didn't come up at the very last second.
Well, that is all.
I suppose I should be getting back to work anyway. Well, thank you for the most pleasant conversation, Mel. You know, if you wanted to continue talking later time, you should have no difficulty contacting me. Wink.
I'll keep that in mind. Going back.
I want to point something out. So she said that she would have been at you're arriving at the portal, something come up last minute. Yet the dragon in the lab coat says you were arranged to come at night, so not to draw attention. There's a miscommunication here between the looks like the officials of the world and whoever is controlling the portal.
I don't know. She could still arrange it to be at night, but then she herself had somebody interrupt her before she can come to the portal.
I don't know. That's just something I think of. That's just kind of like plot stuff.
I took it a different way, that she thinks you're so unimportant that she couldn't prioritize you over anything else.
And I should mention that Remy works under her.
I like it.
So Remy was sent in her place.
I like that Celeste Radicor says let's date her. Is she a dateable character?
No.
Kind of.
Oh.
But no.
So, outside of being unable to open the thing, that's all we can do for now. So we shall stop searching the park. I don't think I'll find anything else here. I've got some more time left. What should I do? So we're not going to go for the last one, so we got 3 choices left.
New poll?
So why don't you roll a die again? A D4.
Dice or poll?
Or did we have
Dice or poll?
Did we have a spread
Dice.
of scores?
Dice.
Than
We'll
the...
do a dice this time.
If we do a poll, I'm voting library. Because then we get to hear Davwyn's voice.
Yeah, screw it. We're going to the library because I want to see Remy. Because Remy's at the library. All right, Reza. What did you want here? Oh, hey, it's Remy.
Sorry. I didn't have a chance to clear my throat. Sorry, I forgot to mute.
It's okay.
I already told you, it's not here.
Who's he talking to? Adine?
Oh. Okay, I didn't realize that my character was here. Hold on. Won't you help out an old friend?
Friend? This is the first time you've spoken to me in years.
And whose fault is that? For you? I didn't exist for the last few years. At least I try to reach out to you.
No, you're just here because you want something.
I'm right here, right now. And you continue to act like that? She was my friend too, you know?
I think you should leave.
Wordsworth, I'm sorry for everything.
It's a little late for apologies.
Have it your way then.
Adine stormed out so quickly she didn't even notice me. I waited a few moments and wondered if it was a good time to talk to Remy. In the end, I decided that my task was too pressing to come back at another time. I shuffled through books and tried to look busy until I noticed he resumed his work, so I could approach him.
Oh, hello, Mel. How can I help?
How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Lies!
Has Reza been here recently?
Reza? He's visited quite a few times since he arrived, actually. Until a few days ago, that is.
Do you know what he was reading?
Not particularly. I thought he just wanted to learn about our world.
Did you notice anything unusual about him while he was here?
I can't say that I did. Though he did ask me for a map once.
A map?
Yes. I showed him a few, but none seemed to be what he was looking for.
Did he talk to you about anything strange while he was here?
Besides the maps, nothing else really mentioning comes to mind. Only the usual pleasantries.
Okay, I'm sorry to say I kind of overheard that earlier conversation. What did Adine want from you?
Wait, you were there the whole time?
Not the whole time, just long enough to know that something was up.
It's not actually something that concerns you.
Oh, come on. It does concern me. I know you, and I know Adine.
It's nothing of great importance. Are you aware of a certain prehistoric underground building we recently discovered?
I heard of it.
She wanted a blueprint of it, which it was one of the things we found inside the building during an investigation.
How would you have it?
We're not just a library, you know, but a whole archive that stores all sorts of information and objects. In any case, a blueprint is a kind of thing that would be placed in our care eventually.
So she thinks you have it.
Even if we did, it wouldn't be something we could just give out to anyone.
Of course, of course. Well, that's all for today. Thanks for your help.
You're welcome.
The afternoon sun hung low in the sky, and I decided it was time to report my findings to the police. A brief call to the department, and I was on my way to an appointment with Sebastian. Not sure how my findings will help, but at least I have something.
Look who we have here.
Alright. I turned around to see Maverick. His intense gaze confirmed that there was no one else his words could have been directed at. Even the civilians passing by in the background, I suddenly felt alone. What do you want from me?
Answers.
And what if I don't have any for you?
Then you will listen. Just tell me one thing. Why? What is your goal in all this? Why even come here?
You know why. We came as ambassadors for humanity and to oversee the trade we agreed on.
No. That won't do. That's simply not true. You know it, and I know it. I just don't get why you can't be honest with me, even when you know no one else is listening. You know I can't touch you. If I did, it would be over for me, at least as long as I don't have any proof. In the end, what difference does it make if I know? No one's going to believe me anyway. Do you wish to kill me, too, like Reza?
I would never do such a thing.
Is that so? Tell me, why would an ambassador need such a dangerous tool in the first place? I know you claim to not have one of these things Reza injured me with, and you didn't have any when they searched you, but I guess it's way too late for safety precautions at this point. You could have hidden it. You could have hidden one anywhere. That damn hurt, you know.
Leo, this is not a good time for that. No, this is a terrible time for this. Inappropriate. No.
Maybe our friends claim that at the weirdest times.
Because
They really want to hear you say that, don't they?
because my friends, because you're all a bunch of, because you're all a bunch of miscreants.
Should
All
I
of
try
you.
it?
That takes
I do it?
5k points. Like,
Oh, you want to? You want to say it? Go ahead. Go. You want Maverick to say it? Go ahead in Maverick voice. Go. Alright.
Aura.
Mm,
Is that good enough?
no, but they paid to Nelda, so Nelda say it. No, you should say it for your chat.
Oh God.
Go ahead, Mel.
Fine. Sorry. Ah. Ara.
Ooh.
Freaking miscreants.
I can see why it's worth so much channel points.
Well, they just got 2 for 1.
I think most of the payment goes to Miles' frustrations.
Yes.
But even worse than that was getting thrown aside by Bryce. I trust him, but after what happened, he doesn't trust me anymore. Now, there's only you, the mythical, the special, the new. How much I wish I could make him see what I see. I could have saved the world with what I did that day, and it still wouldn't matter when no one believes me, just because I don't have any proof. But I won't stop until I find some. And when I do, I'm gonna be a damn hero.
And with that, he was gone.
A damn hero, you hear me?
Because he's like walking off, turns around, a damn hero! Walks a little more, a good damn hero!
Inside his home, you see the board with all like the string and paper and.
Oh, got the string theory kind of stuff.
It's all connected. It's all connected. It all points to this person. This odd human with the red gem in their forehead. What is with that gem?
Ah.
On the way to the police station, Maverick's words kept finding their way back into my mind. I couldn't decide how to feel about them. I wasn't even sure if it was worth mentioning to the police, since all he did was make vague accusations. It wasn't anything substantial enough to be considered a threat. However, However, his actions were growing more calculated, and he seemed very sure of himself. I wondered about what this could amount to, but that wasn't the problem at hand.
Hey, Mel!
Hey, Sebastian. I thought I'd meet you at the front desk. What are you doing at Bryce's office?
He does have a nice office, doesn't he? And the chairs are comfy.
Is that the only reason we're in here? The dragon gave a brief chuckle.
Let's just say that any information pertaining to this case is important enough to warrant some privacy.
I see. Will Bryce be here anytime soon?
I don't think so. He's still outside looking for Reza. He's not the kind of person who gives up easily.
Yeah, that sounds like him. But, can't we help?
That's only so much we can do. I was out searching too until I came to meet you. At this rate, doesn't look like we'll find him today. He could be anywhere, long gone, beyond our reach. What do you think?
I don't think he's going anywhere. Yes, thanks for repeating what I just said. Is there an echo in here? He can't
Is
flee.
there an echo in here?
Please lean over, Dev. Shh.
Yeah.
Not your part yet. He can't flee to another place. No matter where he goes, he'd be recognized immediately. In the end, his only way out is the same way he got in. Portal. And he can't use that without someone noticing.
Very astute observation.
I wonder what will happen to our trader group now, considering Reza's still missing, the murders, and the stolen generator now. If Reza really is the murderer, then...
Don't do that.
Do what?
Worry.
But you don't know what's at stake here.
People are dead, Mel. Do you think I don't know that? Reza may be our prime suspect, but he's also a missing person. For all we know, he could be a victim. Maybe someone is making him do this. My point is, we don't know the facts yet. What we need to do is find him and find the murderer. We'll find Reza and go from there. We'll figure it out.
Thanks, Sebastian.
Anyway, you said you had some information for us. So, what did you find? The map in the library. I don't know what to think about that. He could have needed a map to plan something, I suppose, but who knows what he really wanted to do with it. It's the kind of detail that, on its own, might not tell us much, but could be crucial later on. Good work, Mel. It's not much to go on, but it's something. It'll keep us busy, at least.
Did I mention the ball you found in the park?
In any case, thanks for your help. We really do appreciate it.
Nope. The orb is my trophy.
Pretend it's your egg.
It's not an egg. It goes to my hoard.
Mel's having a ball.
You're welcome.
God damn it! You're welcome. Timing of that.
Well,
Oh, that should be all then. Since Bryce still hasn't come back, I assume the search is still going on, and I better get out there and help him. Guess it's gonna be a long day. Can you find your way back to your apartment?
Of course.
All right. I'll see you later.
Good luck. Well, sis, if you ever do a Phoenix Wright game again, you can always like poke around the stream room, and I could even poke around other places to see if anyone wants to join for something like that in the future.
yeah. Might be able to get some of us wrangled up for that.
I played Phoenix Wright. I've always wanted to.
So just to let you guys know,
Mhm.
I am feeling a little nauseous and a little overheated.
You should take a break.
Davwyn, just to let you know, I did get my first COVID shot,
right.
and I think it was the fact that I got it while on a somewhat empty stomach and somewhat dehydrated, so I think I was a little bit of a disadvantage.
Well,
Drink lots of fluids and relax.
Yeah,
we
keep
appreciate
your-
you guys coming and do voices, but first of all, we're your friends. We want you to make sure you're okay. So go do some self-care.
Yeah,
I can take over your lines.
I think what I'm gonna do is I'm probably gonna run through the shower first, and because showering is one of the better ways.
Well, drink
And
something too, but yeah,
Well,
focus
I've
when you
been-
get back if you feel up to it.
Just
Yeah, I've been
avoid dairy and
drinking
nothing
water
acidic.
this entire time. But I feel
I
like-
can do your lines if you need to duck out.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to duck out for a little bit.
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay,
Take
just
care.
hop back in if you feel up to it.
Yeah, I'll let you guys know.
All right.
Hope you feel better.
Yes,
Yep.
hope you feel better.
And let us know if you start scoring any scales or anything.
Well,
Yes, I'll definitely fill you guys in.
I still feel, Jeff, that I haven't got any.
Where's mine?
COVID gives you. Wait, well, I'm not
Alright.
gonna answer that. That's just weird.
Take it easy.
Well, the best vaccine against a human disease is to not be human.
Oh my!
Well-
I didn't realize that what you guys are thinking.
Well, the other thing too is there is, it essentially became a meme for a bit. There was someone in the I think it was Brazil. It was like the Brazilian president or something.
Yeah,
Prime
the
Minister or something.
president of Brazil is kind of an idiot. He was being anti-vax for a while, saying that it might mutate people into alligators. So the more scientifically inclined members of the populace, when they were going to get their shots, started dressing up as reptiles.
It's honest,
Good on them.
I still think it's funnier than the whole getting 5G thing. I don't have that either.
I like this running joke that it was like, the COVID shot gives you 5G? Awesome, I'll be my own hotspot.
I am my own. I can't explain on stream. I am my own hotspot.
Now, if only I could be Peter and be my own hotspot. Anyways, let's get back to this. I'm sorry.
Wireless mini Drake?
Finally, some free time. Whatever am I going to do?
Oh, I get it. If I'm a mini Drake that provides internet, I'm a Wi-Fi iFly.
So,
That one was good. It was good and painful.
here's the thing.
Full time?
Well, here's the thing. I gotta explain this.
Okay.
If we don't meet with at least with Andine or Lorem, we can't continue further with them. We do have to. We do have two chances like before, but again, we have to at least meet with at least one of them once.
So,
About Lorem.
but you've been seeing Endine. I don't understand. Are you
It's-
talking about like a love line?
You have
Yes.
to focus on one character per playthrough, or you don't have enough time to get through every scene.
Oh,
Hmm.
In other words, if we say do two characters and Ideen isn't one of them, that's it. We will probably see her a couple of times, but she's no longer the main character.
The main romance potential romance option, I should say, because you can still fuck it up. Because you can still screw it up.
so you want to do
Yeah.
a vote? Either.
You have to commit to either Lorem or Adine at this point, basically.
I
So-
want to hear Davwyn's voice. I want to hear
Are you
Blue
like a
Davwyn.
fanboy Sky? That's all I hear about you.
Look, Mel's
This is a
playing
title.
She should get a
Okay.
She should get a choice in this.
Okay, so personally, it's already gone with what I wanted, where I wanted to go. So, you know what? We'll leave it. We'll make it a poll. We'll just
Yeah, I think
we'll
that's
just do
fair.
a 2 poll. It'll be Lorem or Andine.
Okay.
I'm gonna vote Remy. No.
You don't just be the wild card. Just ruin
All
everything.
right, chat. Who do you want to go for?
So is Lorem or Adine?
Yes. Just the two.
I keep pronouncing all the names differently.
Building castles in the sky.
100% Lorem.
Just the two of us. You
First
and
vote.
I.
Oh boy, 100% alarm.
Oh, it's 3 Alorum. Oh, we got one. What a Dean.
Leo Force voted for Adine.
Yep.
Or Adine. I call it Adine.
Adonai.
Let's go with that.
If you guys really want to push for your option, you can use biddies to push your option twice.
I don't have any biddies left.
So,
Halfway point.
Do 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 do. Oh wait,
you're wrong one.
it's spooky.
Where does it
New poll. Have some crushed Doritos. What should I mix them into?
Yuck. Dragon noises. Quick, guys,
If you have-
vote.
If you have crushed Doritos, you should mix them into a salad.
And I threw biddies to make sure Lauren wins. Yay!
Oh, damn.
Oh, someone else voted Adine.
It almost would have been a tie.
Oh. Maybe I should just go now. You don't want me to make a points.
Biddies!
And yes,
Yes, I bought just some biddies yesterday.
I can just imagine Davwyn like just putting out his paw with the biddies is like me.
oh, Lorem won. So it's we get to go to Blue Dav.
Yay!
Blue Dab.
We're meeting with Blue Dav.
I just put so much more voice acting on my job today.
You're welcome.
There you are. Come in.
Oh, before we continue, there's also going to be, I believe, someone else is going to appear during this. So, who wants to pick up Ipsen, because they're supposed to be appearing in this, I think.
I guess I could.
Okay. Sure.
Oh, here we go again. There you are. Come in.
Sure.
Honestly, I can't believe you agreed to do this again.
It's my pleasure.
Now that I've had a chance to work through everything from last time, we can do some real work.
Sounds great.
I did a staggering amount of research on mythical humans. Here, let me show you what some of the stuff I found.
Sure. We sat down at the coffee table. Lorem opened up a laptop and started to type away. And that laptop is a really loud fan. Seeing the laptop brought back memories. In our world, they'd become obsolete as a long time ago.
Before I show you these images, I should probably tell you that some of them are really weird. Just don't take them the wrong way.
Are you going to show us your porn folder?
A621 later.
Human porn.
You already told me about the four-head human, so I think I can handle this. Minute later, shows the human tar. No, I can't handle this! I can't handle this, this is gross.
Alright.
Oh, look, it's me!
That is very cringe.
What? That's not cringe.
He looks attractive.
That doesn't look very human at all.
Sure, just out yourself as a furry, even though he doesn't understand.
No.
That doesn't look very human to me.
This one is supposed to be one of our ancestors.
Ancestors? Well, it does remind me of some of the dragons I've seen here. I'm not sure what humans have to do with this.
You remember that myth about our creator turning into a dragon, right?
Yeah? Yeah, I remember you brought it up.
Now, here's an interesting question. What species did that human turn into?
Crabs.
There are a number of different dragon species nowadays that aren't genetically compatible with each other. Did the human choose one of them? Did they perhaps procreate? A shared ancestor is one option. This would mean that the different species split after the human's involvement in our creation. If human DNA was involved in some way, this might explain how our different species came to be.
No, it won't.
Take a far ancestor of ours and apply various amounts of human DNA. The result would be a number of different species, each with a different amount of resemblance to humans.
Interesting.
Now, if it was said that an upright stance and being able to walk on two legs is a more human trait,
Yes, most humans walk on two legs. That is true.
in any case, it's one of those things that makes humans unique. As a result, some people believe that certain species share more traits with humans than others. I think it makes them more noble or something. Luckily, this doesn't happen often.
But you can walk on two legs as well, right?
Sure. In this theory of shared DNA, this puts me somewhere in the middle, since I still have wings and horns.
I can see that.
Here, look at this one.
Ugh.
I don't even have a joke for that.
I wouldn't want to live in the same town as this fellow.
Well, you can always choose your neighbors, or you can't always choose your neighbors, and this one won't be any different in my game.
Not sure he's a particularly friendly one, though.
Actually, I think this is supposed to be a human female.
Oh. Interesting.
Horns.
There are some that I think, or there are some that don't think humans are very friendly at all, though.
Really? So far, I've only heard positive things about us. Outside of one person, but we'll ignore that.
Some interpretations of our myths don't exactly paint you in the best light. There are also some people who oppose the idea of human worship and what their involvement has meant for us.
In what way?
They say the human interference was unnatural, and that we need to get back to our roots.
And how do they think they can do that?
Apparently, it means refusing to use modern technology and living in caves or the wilderness again.
Dragon hippies. Got it. Like an animal?
Pretty much. Most of us think those people are crazy, though.
Oh, as long as they aren't hurting anyone.
They're harmless, really. You probably won't see them around here anyway.
This is an interesting style, though. Do you know how these pictures were made?
No. I'm sure that information was provided when I looked them up in the library, but I didn't copy all of that.
And you're using these as references?
I make do with what I can get. Maybe now you can see why I wanted your help, though.
Alright. What do you need me to do?
I just want to make some quick sketches. You can stand over there by the wall.
Okay.
Paint me like a French dragon.
I can certainly do that. This guy. Paint me like one of your Frenchnesses. I walked up to the spot he indicated. When I took my place, I saw that he had laid out a number of pins, paper, and other art supplies on the table. Oh, this is going to take a while, isn't it?
I'll try to be quick about it.
Hi, Siren. Do you want me to strike a pose or something?
T-pose would be a good thing to get started with.
I was about to make that as a joke, but then he said the line.
And the moment I do, he starts feeling intimidated.
T-pose for dominance. Ugh.
Yeah. What's that?
That mustache.
I know what a T. What do you mean? What's that? Come on, you should know what a T-pose is me.
Just point your arms sideways so you look like a giant T.
Oh, I get it. I'm about to T-pose for Lorem's video game project.
I have a feeling most dragons can't T-pose in the first place.
Maybe they can M/N pose?
Arch pose?
Raising my arms to the sides. I wonder how long this would take.
Great. Now try to stay as still as possible.
It's O'Rourke. Would it be a star pose for a dragon? Depends on the dragon. Can I still talk?
Sure, as long as you don't talk with your arms.
Start flopping my hands. That's how I like to talk.
It's alright.
As I wasn't allowed to move my head, I stared at Lorem sketching my figure. This went on for a few minutes, until I suddenly heard the sound of a door opening. Oh, here he comes. It's Ibsen.
Ooh, Floofy boy. Oh wow, he has an extremely biped stance.
Hey, Laura. Oh, right. The human was going to visit today. I totally forgot about that. You don't mind if I take a seat, right?
You just want to study Mel.
Like you aren't doing that right now. Besides, this room is mine as much as it is yours. I'll just watch and be quiet.
I thought you had experiments to run.
And they're running. I'd rather not be confined to my tiny room for the next 2 hours, staring at the ceiling and waiting for them to finish. Boy, I can feel that.
Oh, I hope you left plenty of hydration for those experiments when they're done running.
Dr. Pepper.
That was a really terrible joke. I'm sorry. Like elevator is your fridge running level of bad joke.
Don't worry, I caught it.
I'm ignoring what you're saying there, sis.
And they... Oh, wait, that was the line.
no experiments on Mel, please.
Yes, I'll just sit here and maybe take a few notes.
I'm sorry, Mel. This is my roommate and longtime best friend, Ipsum.
Oh, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Oops.
Shh, quiet voice in my head. Nice to meet you, Ibsen.
His scientific bluntness might be off-putting, so please bear with him.
Speak for yourself.
So much for those two being best friends. Thorm returned to his drawing, silence only being interrupted by the strokes of his pen.
Something interesting happened at work today.
Did they finally figure out who is playing all those pranks?
Reread that.
Yeah? Did they finally figure out who was playing all those pranks?
It was you. Did you finally figure out it was you? You skipped
Oh.
like a few words there.
Oh, that's what happens when I try to fast read. Let me try again. Did they finally figure out it was you playing all those pranks?
Maybe. No, they'll never catch me. I was talking with a colleague about the humans here, and I offhandedly mentioned that Mel was going to come over.
Oh no.
Uh-oh. I don't like where this is going.
Some hours later, Anna barges into my office and says Mel is off limits to anyone besides her as far as tests and experiments are concerned.
This would be more interesting if we were doing the Anna line.
Well, I'm not taking any samples. You could hardly be blamed just for looking at Mel.
Yes, but that makes me wonder. Mel, did you agree to visit her and undergo her rigorous testing regimen?
What? No.
Evidently, she thinks otherwise. Oh, and Lorem, have you seen my Isomin sphere recently?
Didn't you take it with you when you went to the park the other day?
Yes, I did.
Well, that's the last time I saw it.
I must have lost it then. I already searched the whole apartment.
Did you go into my room?
Not after the last time. No.
Maybe someone found it.
I had it registered in my name when I got it, so if anyone found it, it should show up sooner or later.
I remember the sphere I had found in the park. I dug into my pocket to show it to them. Wait a minute. Are you talking about...
Hey, no moving around.
Quickly, I extended my arms again to make a perfect D pose. Sorry, I just found something in the park recently that may or may not be your... Exomin sphere? Not sure how it's properly pronounced. I'm sorry.
Isomin sphere? Let's just go with Isomin.
Where is it?
Probably in one of my pockets. Just be careful when you're searching them.
Ooh.
God damn it. At these words, Ipsum got off and walked over to me.
You know, neither of those dragons have pockets. I wonder if this is an interesting thing for them. So much for quietly sitting in the corner and letting me work in peace.
We're talking about a very expensive piece of equipment here.
Just give it to him, Mel.
I searched my pockets and looked for the sphere to no avail. Huh. It's not here.
Oh, you don't have it after all? What kind of cruel joke are you playing here?
I must have left it in my apartment.
What a shame.
I could fetch it after we're done with this.
It would be better if you just handed it to the police. After all, we don't even know if it is my sphere that you found. Either way, the police should be able to verify it and locate its owner.
Alright. What is an Ixaman sphere, anyway?
It's just a glorified toy for grown-ups, really.
Hello? You have no idea what you're talking about. An Ixaman sphere is a very sophisticated tool with countless number of uses.
Ooh? Okay, I'm sorry. Now you got me doing it.
You're welcome.
Now, this is where you put the RR, everybody.
Like what?
It can levitate and follow you around, take photos. You can even use it as a calculator.
Making it a glorified toy for grown-ups.
I use it for my experiments.
Well, if they can take photos, I wouldn't need to stand around like this. That is, if we had it here now.
It is a great companion for all situations in life.
It's much easier to draw from a live model than a photo, though.
Easier for you, maybe. I hope this doesn't take any longer, because I think my arms just went numb a while ago.
Yeah, I think you can relax for now. I'm nearly done with this one.
A tingling sensation went up my arms as I relaxed. Slowly, I began to regain feeling in them.
Alright. Juno, turn around.
I thought we were done already.
Not unless we want our humans to like a backside.
So that's what this is all about.
Ugh,
Ooh.
you know what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, you're being coddled.
Isn't it my turn to draw you now?
That's not how it works.
I wouldn't mind getting a portrait of myself. I can already see it. The light shining from above, caressing my luscious mane, highlighting each lock as they interplay.
This is going to be a long day.
Well, that depends on how fast you are. As I was now facing the wall, I couldn't see Lorem and what Lorem and Ipsum were doing. After a few seconds of silence, I heard some whispering coming from the couch. What are you two talking about?
I didn't want to be rude, but I was just curious about your vestments.
He said, and I quote, "This would be more interesting if it wasn't for those clothes Mel is wearing."
Ooh.
Oh, I
I don't
see.
think the dragons are used to seeing somebody dressed down.
Oh, I see how it is.
I'm just saying it would be hard to study an insect if there was a piece of cloth draped over it. Wearing that much just seems odd to me. I prefer people to be naked.
If humans wear clothes like this, it's only appropriate to depict them as such.
And my scientific curiosity shall remain unsatisfied.
Yes, scientific curiosity. Totally scientific.
Very scientific. I have glasses, don't you see?
Yes.
Yeah, I have mild concerns about the myopia going around all of this dragon town.
Because Mel is not here to do that, and you would get in big trouble with Anna.
Well, actually, we have a pretty big variety of vestments. I could tell you about it.
Sounds good, but not right now. I have to finish this one up first.
Alright. So, Ibsen, I have heard a lot about experiments in science now, but what do you actually do?
I pick on Laura. I work in the facility as a biologist with a minor in physics.
And a major in
You just
pain.
pick on me regularly.
In addition to the office, I also have my own setup here at home. I assure you, it's properly isolated from the rest of our apartment. It even has a fume hood to prevent accidents. Not that I have accidents. But I only use it for the smallest of experiments, usually things unrelated to my job.
Oh, sounds pretty interesting.
Don't get him started, or we'll never hear the end of it.
You just never waited long enough to hear the end. Maybe you would like to talk about your hobby instead, Loram.
Isn't this already a hobby?
I guess you could say so.
I was talking about his other hobby, though. Wink, wink.
Ooh woo.
Cue the ara ara.
This is... I might just have to add an ooh woo thing to my prices.
Oh, that.
Yes.
I don't know. It's a little embarrassing, to be honest.
No need to be embarrassed about your hobbies, depending what they are.
He likes flowers. Once, he even made a crown out of daisies. The cutest thing in the world, just like Red Dav.
Don't listen to him. As usual, he only tells half the story.
The good half.
What's the other half then?
The bad half.
I have an extensive love for botany.
The fern he keeps in his room must be the happiest plant alive.
I find gardening to be really very relaxing, especially when the birds are singing in the morning. It's so nice to go out there with a nice cup of tea and work in the garden of our apartment building. Which reminds me, Ipsum here has quite an extensive tea collection. Although I'm not sure if he prefers to hoard tea or gadgets. It's a mystery.
Why not both?
I heard there was going to be a model of the Ixalan sphere that can actually make tea. That's going to be a must-buy.
It can also make cups.
Can it also make?
Or are you supposed to sip it out of the sphere itself? Or can it also make cups? Or are you supposed to sip it out of the sphere itself?
You can do both.
Don't be silly.
You sound just like an old couple.
I'm not old.
Couple? Us?
Not really.
We've known each other for a long time, though, if that counts.
I have so many stories of him.
I think it does. By the way, Ibsen, you're not from here, right?
What is that supposed to mean?
Well, you look nothing like the other dragon. I see typo. I see typo. Well,
No? Well, you look
Nothing
nothing
like-
like any
yeah.
other dragon I've seen here so far. That's
oh,
normal.
that's my bad. Okay, never mind. That was me reading too fast now. Okay. You get this one. That was my bad. But I'm keeping an eye on you, text box.
Mel versus text box.
Yeah,
Fight.
dyslexia has claimed 2 victims, and only one of us is dyslexic.
But
Well,
I do want to point out it's nice that these two have a perfectly platonic relationship and are happy together. I like that.
well,
Yeah.
you look nothing like any other dragon I've seen here so far. I suppose that's true of Lorma as well, though. You're both pretty small.
Hey,
But you, Ipsum, you also have hair. That's certainly new.
it's not as unusual as you might think, but you're right. There aren't many of us in these parts.
I imagine being smaller than the rest of the population will come with its own challenges.
I can't reach the top shelf.
It's not that big of a deal. If something is unreachable for me, I can fly.
In small spaces, you can.
This apartment was actually intended to house one dragon of a bigger size. That only makes it fairly cheap, but also big enough for both of us.
There's one thing I've been wondering. How do you even sit in one of those chairs? Wouldn't the backrest cause problems with your tails? Oh, it's brought up.
Thank you.
There we
That's
go.
what Davwyn's been asking the whole time.
I've been asking since the first stream. At the start of it.
Answers finally.
What?
Answer!
Never noticed. Do not look behind the curtain.
Alright, so let's find
Oh, I'm gonna look behind the curtain and I'm gonna shine a flashlight over there. And I'm gonna pull out a notebook.
I see what you mean. For me, it's never really been a problem. Mostly because most of the chairs are bigger than I am.
It's just a question of getting into the right position. However, this might be different from those of us who mostly walk on 4 legs, but they usually don't use chairs like these at all.
I've seen a few try, though.
And it was funny. I suppose they want to imitate humans this way. Even if they can't stand or walk like a human, they can try to sit like one.
With varying results. Some look really funny, trying to sit in chairs they are far too big for, or sitting in odd ways that clearly don't work with their anatomy.
I can just imagine dragon TikTok just full of dragons trying to sit in chairs.
Sit in the chair challenge.
This is reminding me of that picture. If schools didn't want us to grow up to be furries, why did all school chairs have a tail hole in them?
I just love it, just like streamer dragon challenge, sitting in a chair with your tail.
I need a chair. No, that's why I keep getting uncomfortable in my chair. My chair doesn't have a tail hole.
Ow.
I can't
My
say
chair
that
has
joke
many
on air.
holes, but no tail hole.
I see. Not that kind of tail hole. Out of the gutter. Out of the gutter now. Get out.
Who's saying that?
Sky.
Oh, Sky, get out of the gutter.
It's comfy in here.
It's gross. Get out of sewer.
Lorm. Lorm, you asked me about breath weapons last time, but I don't think you ever told me if you had one.
Probably because it isn't worth mentioning.
It may only be a small flame, but it can get very hot.
Oh god, Firewing. Wonder how a dragon would use a commode. Let's not. Yeah, let's just hand wave those aspects. It's just like how we hand wave in RPG is why our characters never use the washroom. It's just hand waved. What about you, Ipsum?
Yes, Ibsen, what about you?
My breath weapon is elocution, since words are more powerful than anything else.
Oh, fancy word.
I guess same as mine then.
Alright, I'm done with this one. You can turn around.
Really? But starting the wall is so much. Just kidding. Does this mean we're done?
Let's make one more. Maybe something dramatic?
How dynamic are we talking about?
Something that isn't static, like the reference models I just did.
And yeah, Zorik, I made the comment earlier that they're always walking around the buff. Clothes must be really confusing to them.
You can strike a pose, something that's just you.
Alright. What kind of pose should I go for?
French dragon.
JoJo pose!
I like the options.
Normal pose, a thoughtful pose, or a swimwear pose. Pull! Full time!
Pull it.
Pull it.
I was gonna say the library dragon wears a shirt and tie.
Collar and tie. There's no shirt. It's literally just the collar of a shirt. It won't be wearing swimwear. It would just be the pose, like a model, like modeling the swimwear.
You got 1 minute, folks.
1 minute.
1 minute to win it?
I voted for the one you didn't think I would vote for. Now vote on what you thought I would vote for. This is fun. I need to get this whole scene clipped out. I like this. I think my ad-libbing has worked.
Just don't derail us.
I tried to keep it in context and say it between lines. I got
see
some
why
good
you're
laughs.
so excited now because you're like, I could tease the Davwyn.
Hey, on some of those lines, I didn't even have to do anything. He said it himself.
No.
When you've had the other hobby, I thoughtful is the winner. I totally thought you were gonna say like his other hobby is going in his room and wearing a collar.
Alright, what about this?
Works for me.
So what won?
By the way, did you
Thoughtful.
get the groceries when you came home from work?
Yes, just as usual.
Nora. Too bad. Are you too sure you're not in a relationship?
I certainly am.
Actually, Ipsum is deeply in love with his home laboratory.
I polish it every night.
Oh gosh. Is that what you call it?
Oh, really?
I'm not even going to deny that. When I'm not working on something at the office, I do so here.
And what are you currently working on?
I've been looking into the physics of teleportation.
You're talking about the portal, right?
Well, I don't have permission to even approach the portal, so I have to resort to a theoretical discussion on its mechanics and make do with what I can pull off in my home laboratory.
Hi, Ram.
Oh!
whatever Nora said, do it.
Maybe I could tell you a few things.
That won't be necessary. I've already read all of the available test reports.
Okay. You're talking to a creature who has physically crossed space and time through a portal.
But test reports! Science!
Okay, Jane. I know there's some hand waving, but dude, the creature's like, I was this little cute little purple noodle dragon. I've been peppering him so many questions, or at least running tests on him. I mean,
No. You can't read testimony. Remember, Anna said no.
Anna's not in the room.
He wants to, but Anna said no.
Well, Anna's not there.
Anna can smell science.
And this is why I like Anna the most.
Anna can smell science.
Ipsum will just walk by. She goes, "I smell science on you."
Okay, I'm gonna have to adopt that.
Read test reports. Not qualified to understand them. Time to draw own conclusions. Rav.
Yep. Pretty accurate, Rav.
Okay. Let's continue. Okay.
Let's keep going.
Are you aware that using the portal could be incredibly dangerous?
I'm not sure what you're talking about. Besides, feeling my atoms being split across the universe, I'm totally fine. I'm not missing anything.
Then you don't have a complete understanding of what the portal actually does and what it means for our world at large.
Invasion?
In order for a portal to function, a natural wormhole is required. It is trapped and becomes the portal's entry. The portal manipulates the wormhole's exit. This way, something can be sent to whichever destination is chosen. Now, there is a theory about the purpose of the natural wormholes in the universe. It states that they act as the support pillars of the space-time continuum.
This guy watches Star Trek
so?
too. Nerd!
How should I explain this?
Badly.
I think a video game analogy worked pretty well.
You always talk about video games. Sure, in a video game, what happens when you meet the edge of a map?
You hit a wall?
That happens in some games, but in others...
You reappear on the opposite side.
Right. How does this happen? If our world was a perfect sphere, someone could just keep flying in the same direction and eventually they would end up at the starting point again.
Yep, sure. That's how spheres work and how our planets work.
This is just the result of physics and the abstraction of a video game. However, it doesn't work like that. They don't try to replicate a spherical world, but use a 2D plane instead.
This is getting a little confusing.
Don't worry. Imagine a piece of paper with a world map printed on it.
Right.
While it shows the entirety of the world, it's still just a simple, flat piece of paper rather than a sphere, right?
That's correct, yes.
Let us assume that in a game, our world map looks like that. Now, what happens when we approach the edge and walk over? It is that we are teleported to the opposite side.
Okay, I'm following you so far.
This doesn't actually make the game world a sphere, but rather a torus.
Taurus?
It's like a donut.
I was gonna say, dang it, your turn. I was gonna make a horoscope joke. Dang it.
You know, like a donut.
If that's the comparison you want to make, I mean, it's not like I said it.
Okay.
Now, things are going to get really complicated. Are you familiar with the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics? Don't be ashamed if you don't.
Let's say I'm not.
It states that every single time a choice is made by any actor that possesses free will, the universe splits off into different branches. This means that for every choice you have made, there exists a branch of the universe where you made a different decision.
I'm
I
under the working
see.
theory that Laura literally is me at this point.
Correct.
I thought something. I thought something else was going to start blurring in Dad's mind, but okay.
Now, we can't communicate with these other branches in any way. You don't know what would happen if you had made a different decision just this morning. You could make an educated guess, but the only person who truly knows what would happen is the alternate you who has made that decision and is living its consequences. That is, unless we could communicate with those other branches. However, there is a barrier that prevents us from doing that. This barrier is made up of wormholes.
How does that work?
It is very similar to the Taurus world model that is used in games. As we approach the edge of our own world, the barrier causes us to end up on the other side instead.
Does this mean we get teleported to the other side, like in video games?
Not necessarily. It would just be as correct to assume that our universe is shaped like a torus.
So, which is it then? Do we get teleported or not?
That depends on how you look at the wormhole's function. Imagine the sheet of paper is the entirety of our world.
He took a sheet of paper from Lorm's stack and showed it to me, making a spot near the edge with a pen.
And this is where you live. Unfortunately, your workplace is here on the other side.
He drew an X close to the right edge of the paper.
If the world was flat, this would be very unfortunate. However, if the world was a torus, the left and right edges would be connected. You could take the shorter route to work by going over the edge. Now, let's say that this is only possible because of wormholes connect these two edges together. If you happen to be right at the very edge and looked beyond, everything would look perfectly fine for you. Given that these wormholes stay in their place, you would never know that the world is actually flat and that you can only travel to the other side because the wormholes connect to the edges. You would think that the world is a torus.
You could get to the work faster over the edge. Man, this guy speedruns. Speedruns rats. Right.
However, what if the wormholes don't actually bring you to the other side by teleporting you, but instead just bend the paper into the torus shape and hold the edges together? If these wormholes failed or were displaced, the paper would unfold, throwing the world into disarray. That's what the wormholes and the barrier actually do. They are what hold everything together.
So they're really more like glue.
If it wasn't for them, the overall construct would collapse in on itself.
Now, are we talking Elmer's glue or Gorilla Glue?
No. Just like horse glue.
What construct?
The entirety of space-time. Wibbly wobbly.
Timey-wimey stuff.
Now, if these theories are true, what would mean using a portal damages the barrier? Each time the portal is activated, the wormhole used for teleportation is displaced, leaving a small gap where it used to be. Do this too often, and the overall system will destabilize eventually. Davwyn?
1 second.
Yeah, being poked again.
Yeah.
Alright. Maybe you shouldn't talk about your theories about how the world is going to end.
Just ignore the pokes.
Nothing is going to happen because the portal was used a few times. I just hope humanity is aware of its implications.
And maybe we can collaborate.
I certainly hope so.
Your researchers seem to know what they are doing.
I just wish I could be a part of it. With everything that's going on, the future looks incredibly exciting.
What do you think is going to happen, Ibsen?
Now you'll just get him started. Don't say I didn't warn you.
The knowledge contained within your PDAs could propel innovation forwarded by unseen lengths.
Meaning a lot more experiments for you to do.
Yes! Which would be terribly exciting.
Personally, I'm more interested in the social implications.
What do you mean?
I don't expect there to be just a back and forth of ambassadors forever.
Are you talking about colonies?
I bet. Oh, I bet Lorem would jump at the opportunity to live in the human world.
I'm
So many pets.
not sure if that would be a good idea.
Why not?
Obviously, such an endeavor would need a lot of preparation. We would need to learn about their culture and adjust appropriately. I'd expect we'd need an ambassador over there long before any of that will happen, though. We hardly know anything about their world.
Everything's still up in the air as far as diplomatic relations go. We have no idea what the situation could be like in just a week.
Yes, and it's so incredibly exciting.
Don't get too excited, though, or else you'll just ruin your drawing. Wink, wink.
It's almost done anyway. Here, what do you think?
Lorem leaned over, holding up the paper to Ibsen. Ibsen looked at the paper closely, his gaze shifting back and forth between me and the paper several times. After a few seconds, he seemed to be finished with his evaluation.
As a scientist, my professional opinion is that this part looks a little long.
And as the person involved in the drawing, which part are you talking about?
The part you labeled ooh-woo.
And then you're gonna go. He pointed his sharp claw at the part of the paper Lorem was holding, totally and not indicating which part at all.
Are you sure? Let me see.
If I wasn't sure, I wouldn't have said it.
I think you're right.
That I am.
Lorem reached for his eraser, purging a few lines from the paper before he switched to his pen again.
He can erase a pen?
Apparently, they have pen erasers.
Maybe it's a
Whoa.
mechanical pen?
No, he's drawing with a pencil first, and then he's using an artist eraser, and then he's going it over with a pen.
Yeah.
See, he's switched to a pen. He's acting like he's actually doing a
And
real
it's
art
done.
sketch.
See? What would you ever do without me?
I don't think I'd hear as many explosions in the middle of the night.
You were happy about it when you forgot to set your alarm that one time.
Suddenly, the sound of an alarm resounded throughout the room.
Oh, my experiment is done.
And there he goes. Charming fellow, isn't he?
And by experimenting, he means cookies. He's making cookies.
I was about to say pizza. It sounded like a microwave went off.
Yeah.
I know, that's what I thought.
Yeah, he's a pretty interesting guy.
He certainly keeps things interesting around here. And he's a good art critic.
I can imagine.
Anyway, looks like we're almost done here.
Phew,
Anyway, it looks like we're done here.
phew. It feels good to be able to move again.
We're not gonna see the picture?
Well, considering that our protagonist, as far as the universe is concerned, is a formless, shapeless entity, or rather just a camera focusing on them with the person behind it.
Yeah, with a sticker saying human.
At least it's not like Xanth where you're just a floating computer monitor.
True.
Would you like to stay for dinner? It'd be the least I can do to compensate you for your lost afternoon.
Let me see. What time is it? It's getting late. I probably shouldn't stay out this long. Looks like I'll have to decline for now.
I see. Well, I gotta do something for you at least.
Don't worry about it. Maybe some other time.
If you say so. Thanks for doing this. At any rate, it's been a huge help.
Yeah, I know. Don't worry about it. Really.
Alright.
Oh, I should really get going now.
Sure. Take care.
That was fun.
Nothing
I like
going
the
on
TV.
today.
So they definitely have a mix of technology. That little orb thingy apparently can do a heck of a lot of things too. So it's a super modern drone.
Yeah,
Their technology is all over the place.
yeah. And I didn't realize that Rambling had so much plot material in it. And it went over everyone's heads.
Oh no, I was picking up on a lot of it.
Anyways, guess I can do whatever. You know, they say it's super late, yet I can still visit other people.
Oh,
You know what? We haven't seen our bean in a while, so you know what? I'm going to visit my bean.
So busy Dav it is.
Sorry, Dav. He told me to meet him in the lobby, but no one's here. Maybe I should look for him? Can't be too far, after all.
I have to remember not to use the alarm voice.
It was quite a spacious building, lined with many bookcases on multiple floors. From the looks of it, it seemed to be as much of an archive as it was a library, which went over earlier. With immaculate order permeating the chamber, it was the kind of place I could see myself getting lost in for an afternoon or two, thumbing through all the interesting books it could offer me, and not talking to any dragons like we did the first day. At least for a while. I was looking around in wonder, when suddenly, a voice penetrated the silence. Corgi, you're up. It's Emera,
that's not my Emera. Who's Emera?
the bossy Nidorino looking dragon.
Oh, okay. I was wondering which dragon was this one. Remy.
Or like Remy!
I couldn't see who the voice belonged to, but it came from the more private area in the back. It was followed by footsteps that approached it.
Okay.
Oh, you're still here?
Of course I'm still here. I have business to attend to.
Certainly. I just assumed that you'd be done by now, Amra.
I guess your assumption was wrong. Be a good boy and bring me some coffee, will you?
Of course, Amra.
I heard more movement. though I still cannot see either of the two who spoke behind all the bookcases. I assumed the area was off limits to a visitor like myself, and decided to wait.
Here you go.
Now, let me read in peace, you silly boy.
Of course.
I heard him walk towards my direction, until he emerged from behind a bookcase and spotted me.
Oh, hello, Mel. Didn't expect to see you so soon.
Better safe than sorry.
Well, I'm glad to see you again at any rate.
Who was that back there?
I guess you heard that, didn't you? That's my supervisor. She's Minister of the Culture and Arts, which means I'm technically in her employment. Though, generally speaking, I work for the Council at large, not just her.
So this is where you work, huh?
Most of the time, yes.
That makes you a librarian, I suppose.
There's a little more to it. I'm not just in charge of the books, I'm a scholar and study them too. For example, if the council requests knowledge on certain topics, like facts, statistics, or other information of interest, it is part of my job to present it to them in an appropriate manner.
To research it and present it to them.
And to research it and present it to them in an appropriate manner.
So basically you're an expert on everything?
No, just an expert at finding information. Anyways, is there any particular reason you wanted to meet me?
Because you're a special being. Of course, advise not to come on too strong.
Watching the cursor spin around, round and round it goes.
I was interested in what you said the other day. You have myths about humans?
Oh, right. I still have work to do. But I could show you some afterwards, or something afterwards. Either way, now that you're here, you could help me with something. I've got some books that I need to be sorted over there.
Alright. How do I fit them in? Alphabetically?
No. The arrangement you see in the library is based on a sophisticated system that sorts everything in an intuitive manner based off a number of criteria: genre, author, complexity, and age. As you can probably tell, we have a lot of specimens, so just sorting them by alphabet would be far from sufficient.
Oh, that does sound very intuitive.
It is. Basically, these 8 books over here were all part of a section that was moved, so they need to be sorted into the new area.
I hope you like puzzles.
The problem is their labels are so old they've started to fade away, which makes them a little harder. They will get new labels soon, but until then, we just have to make do with what we have here. All of them are by Hazik Akil, a writer on the subject of history, and very prolific one, might I add. You will find the shelf that they belong over there. Now, it is just a matter of placing them in the right order, oldest to newest. I have written everything down everything still legible from the old labels here. For someone like you, putting them in order shouldn't be a problem. In any case, I'll be working on something else in the meantime, so let me know once you're done. I love how Nora is doing the must give head pats after. It's like,
Oh.
Laura needs pets.
Hints. The third war is directly preceded by the spark. The first war is directly preceded by the inception. The invention is not the third, seventh, or last book. The second war is the fourth book. There's only one book before the first war.
You'll have to screenshot this.
The Enlightenment comes at some point after the third war. Good thing. Oh yeah, you can show hints again.
Yeah, good luck! I had to use an online guide. You're supposed to read through all of the books to figure out what goes when.
So you need to show more books?
It goes through the list.
So go back to the hints again. It sounds like Spark might be the very first book.
Their book is directly preceded by the spark.
The third war is preceded by the Spark, so the Spark can't be first then.
The first war is directly preceded by the inception. The invention is not third, seventh, or last book. The second war is the fourth book.
Okay.
There's only one book before the first war.
So pause right there. So the first war was directly preceded by the Inception.
Mm-hmm.
There's only one book before the first war. Therefore, Inception and First War is the first two books.
Mm-hmm.
The second war is the fourth book, which means we have a missing third book.
The Enlightenment comes at some point after the third war.
Well, our first two books, the First War and the Inception.
Mm-hmm.
The invention is not the third, so it can't be the third, seventh, or last. The third war is directly preceded by the Spark, but we haven't had our second war yet. So where's our third book? The Enlightenment comes some point after the third war, which is even later. So we're missing a third book.
Well, there is another book mentioned here, which is the Tribe.
That will be our third book then.
So it'd be
So the Inception is the very first one.
the Inception. Second book
The
is
second book would be the First War.
the first war. So our third
The
would
Tribe.
be the Tribe.
Second war.
Second war.
Now we're on book 5.
Yeah, we're on book 5.
That we might need the hints for again.
Oh, hang on. Because Spark and Third War are a pair.
Yes, the Spark is
So
before
if-
the third war.
So if Spark is third, Third War is 6th, that would mean Invention is 7th, but it's not allowed to be the 7th.
Mm-hmm.
So that, to me, would imply that Invention...
And the Enlightenment comes before the third war. Did Mel already put the Enlightenment in?
The Enlightenment comes some point after.
Oh, the third war. Okay.
Yes. So the
Okay,
Enlight-
so I would say Invention for the 5th book.
It's not the third, seventh, or last, so yeah.
So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we only have 4 books left, and there's.
Yeah, so it's Invention, Spark, Third War, Enlightenment.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's it.
Oh, you're done? Or you're done? Let's take a look. It seems you got it all right. Well done, Mel. You made the bean happy.
You brought the Remy's books into the correct order.
Yay!
Whew. That was hard work.
Oh.
It gets easier with practice. In any case, there's a box here that belongs in storage. You can put that away, and I'll finish this last bit of sorting, and then we will be done for the day.
Sure thing.
Great. See you in a bit then.
Phew, that is heavier than I thought. I lifted the box and carried it towards its shelf. But just as I was about to reach it, I tripped suddenly, sending me to the ground as the contents of the box spilled across the floor.
Oh no.
Ow! I scrambled to gather the various items as the voice of the dragon called out to me.
Is everything alright?
Before I could answer, Remy came around the corner, his face bearing a look of disapproval. He stooped over and helped me pick up the spilled objects. Yeah, I'm fine.
I was mainly asking about the priceless artifacts you just dropped.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Well, it doesn't look like anything is broken. That could have ended up much worse.
What is all this stuff anyway?
In preparation for your arrival, I wanted to study what knowledge we had on humans.
And what did you learn?
Not much. The human is a creature shrouded in mystery and legend, and yet one we apparently share some history with.
Sure, dragon. Tell me I'm the mythological creature.
As the story goes, we dragons were once a primitive and savage civilization, living in caves and whatnot. We fought other creatures and amongst each other for resources and territory. One day, however, a human arrived who performed many miracles and gave us the gifts of electricity and reason. We refer to this event as our awakening.
What happened to them? And who were they anyway?
They say it was a divine creature, a supernatural being that saved our species by making peace between our clans and uniting us. As our numbers were dwindling from our pointless conflicts.
Jesus! It was a Jesus figure.
When the deed was done, they ascended to the heavens, or where they came from, or turned into a dragon and lived among us, ruling with kindness and wisdom until their eventual passing, depending on who you ask.
And what do you make of this story?
As unlikely as it sounds, there's evidence for a sudden, unprecedented technological advancement in our timeline. We have artifacts from that time that couldn't have been built with the knowledge that we had back then.
I'm starting to think you already have a theory.
Indeed. I take it you are familiar with the way the portals through which you traveled actually work?
You're welcome.
Not very.
It's simple, really. There are spontaneous wormholes that pop into existence now and then, but their highly unstable nature means that they collapse instantly upon themselves. The machinery of the portal merely stabilizes the wormhole so that we may utilize it. We actually are taking advantage of a naturally occurring phenomenon.
Are you familiar with the many worlds theory of quantum dynamics?
Oh, Nora just gave you a donut.
It's a Taurus. The sprinkles on it.
Fascinating stuff.
Long story short, my theory is that this legendary person stumbled upon one of these natural wormholes and split a second. Natural wormholes in the split second it existed, bringing them into our world.
Being thrust into an unfamiliar world with no means to return to their own. Talk about being at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Or just the right one, if you ask me. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here today. Oh, what I would give to know more about them.
How do you know so much about the portal anyway?
We found it a while ago, so I've had time to study it. Not me personally, mind you, but I followed its developments with great interest.
What else have you discovered about it?
Not much, I'm afraid. We didn't want to take the risk of permanent damage, so we won't do anything rash until we completely understand the technology and can replicate it for ourselves. So far, the only thing it has done for us was locating your portal and connecting us to it. From the interface, it appears to have more functions, but we haven't been able to get any of them to work. We were not even sure if it was capable of, or we were not even sure what it was capable of when we initially turned it on. Only after some time of it being active did it actually find your portal, and only then were we able to make a connection.
Making that discovery must have been very exciting, especially when you made contact with us and started exchanging letters with us.
Oh, you have no idea. Especially when Reza arrived and he turned out to be human. Of all things. Some people worship them still, you know.
You've mentioned that before. How does that work? Do you have some kind of organized religion based around it?
Not exactly. It's more of an adoration on a personal level. Thank you. It is more like an adoration on a personal level. I'd count myself amongst them if it wasn't for the fact that I'd consider myself to be a more reasonable approach to it than others. I have a lot of trouble saying Remy's things. His sentences are not structured the way I expect them to be half the time. For example, there are those that there are much more to your sudden appearance than there really is. I think they expect some miracle from you, similar to what was ascribed to humans in the past.
Well, I can tell you that there's nothing supernatural about me. Just ignore the gem on my forehead. Just pretend it's not there.
That's what I expected. Either way, I'm a scholar, and I'm looking forward to everything your PDAs have to offer.
I could show you sometime.
I see. Well, I don't really...
Don't worry.
Yeah, one sec, I gotta pre-read his sentences.
Yeah, take your time.
Well, don't worry about explaining them to me. I'm sure that we have much more important things to do while you're here. It's just a question of time until one of them ends up with me anyway.
Actually, the PDAs are one of the reasons I volunteered to come here.
Really? What do you mean?
I know them pretty well. Enough to explain how they work, at least. Of course, that's far from the only reason. I just thought I'd be the kind of person... Wait, give me a second. Hydrate. Hydrate the males. I just thought I'd be the kind of person who'd meet all of the requirements. And it turned out I was.
I see. It was nice of you to volunteer when you must have known that there would be considerable risks in coming here.
Well, you volunteered as well when you came to meet me, didn't you? I wouldn't think this kind of thing would fall under your jurisdiction regularly.
That is true, but by this point, my interests in these matters shouldn't surprise you.
I was much surprised that I arrived under the cover of darkness to meet an ambassador, though I haven't seen much of you since.
Initially, they wanted me to have an official
Initially, they wanted to have an official reception headed by myself, but in the end, they changed their minds due to security concerns, as I told you back then.
I suppose that's why I'm being escorted by the police all the time.
Yeah, that was supposed to be my job too, until someone from the police department objected and advocated for more security. Better safe than sorry, I suppose.
Let me guess. That someone was Maverick.
How'd you know that?
Just a hunch.
At least I still got to meet you.
Were you nervous when you did?
Only the brave or the foolish wouldn't be. I consider myself neither.
I admit, I was too. I admit I was too. I was speechless when I saw you. And that just wasn't just a side effect of the teleportation.
To be fair, I would have been as well if we didn't already know about humans and Reza.
There was a moment of silence between us, and our eyes met briefly. Then, when suddenly, a loud call echoed throughout the building. Corgi.
You're on, Coco.
Coco?
I'm here.
Coco.
I'm here. Hold on. I just got back from the restaurant. Running.
I better go see what that's about. Maybe it would be better if you didn't stay out in the open. At the end of the hallway, you can find my office towards the right. Wait for me there.
Alright. Oh, this is your office, Remy.
How does he sit in that chair?
we went over this.
I like these options.
Wait, rummage through his trash, look at his notebook, drink his coffee, look in the mirror, look at his computer.
I mean, I'd look at the computer.
Now, yeah, I know what happens when you look at the computer.
What happens if you look in the mirror? They don't want to tell you what your protagonist looks like.
Here, let's look in the mirror. Let's see what happens. It's just the mirror. Nothing special about it.
Man.
Oh, you should probably do everything else before the computer.
Look at his notebook. Heavy paper. Perfect binding. I can tell by the cover alone that this is not the cheap stuff, but the result of quality bookmaking. Alright, let's take a peek inside. Looks like inserted notes. His handwriting is terrible. A-M-E... Nope, can't make it out. And I'm not rummaging through his trash or drinking his coffee. That's just rude.
But that's what humans do, right?
Humans leave food out. You leave food out, and they just scamper over and eat it.
And human bad.
No, Remy pulls out a spray bottle. Bad humans. Bats.
I wonder if their computers are similar to ours. Let's see. At the press of a button, the screen came to life, accompanied by the whir of the machine. After a few seconds, colorful images appeared on the screen.
No, it's not SSD.
Okay, I wonder how we're gonna do this.
Oh God.
How should we do this?
Oh come on, there's a Remy in there.
I'll do some of the.
And an alternate colored Bryce.
Well, the purple one's speaking now, and that's evil. So, have you come here to beg for mercy?
Anna.
Do you want me to read this?
Rysard. This is the Rysard one. So, Dev, you can you take over? Try to be a little bit heroic.
No. How do you say that name?
I'd say Aliyah.
Alia? No, Alia. I've come to stop you. Your reign of terror over this land of Marmoa Marmora is over. You're outnumbered. Just give up, and this can end without bloodshed.
Shiny Bryce, shiny Anna, shiny Edine.
Yes,
So
they're all shinies.
So is the human a bad guy?
Dronon can be the human. The area is teeming with my soldiers, outnumbering you thousands to one. But I don't even need them. Who knows if you'd survive long enough? You might just see why I'm called Alaya the Ascended.
Corgi, you're up.
Oh, you pompous so-and-so.
I didn't know the dragons can speak Hubert.
Redacted.
This would normally be Aeros, but yeah, he's still under
Dronon,
weather.
take over.
Calm down, Edith. Focus.
Ram. Dav.
That's Rem? I'm sorry it had to come to this, Alia, but it ends now.
Ronan, get them!
Grrr.
Oh no, she's sicking her human on us. What shall we do?
Battle starts.
She's sicking her human on us.
Mehlahphuse uses whirlwind.
Whoosh.
Runin takes 326 damage.
What, are humans like the end boss?
Bonar uses Earthquake.
If you think about it, they're mythical creatures, sure.
Runin takes 465 damage.
Oh,
Ronan invokes
Oh.
Cosmic Horror. Bonar takes 1,089 damage. Rysar takes 1,205 damage. Oh. No! The booster to death!
Oh gosh. Wait,
HL3 exec. HL3 exec crashed.
What the?
I see that they suffer the perils of Microsoft over here too.
I mean,
What the? Yeah,
Yep. Hey, what were you doing? Oh no, let me take a look. Why did you even touch my computer?
I want to see.
I just wanted to see what was on it.
Well, whatever you did, it seems to be okay.
Is that one of the games that the little blue dragon was making?
No.
No, but a different one. Oh no, my game!
What's
We
wrong?
lost my save. We lost my save file.
When you touched the computer, you saw a game running, right?
Yeah, I played a little.
I had it saved at that moment, or I had it saved specifically at that moment to play it later. But now it's all gone.
What do you mean it's all gone?
So much preparation, so many hours spent grinding just to get there. I can't do all of that again. You won't understand.
Yes I would. Trust me. I've been there.
I did this by accident once in my friend's game. I felt so bad.
Actually, I do.
You do?
Yeah, we used to have similar games where I come from.
I see. Well, at least my office is still standing.
Speaking of which, what's with the bed? It looks like you live here.
When I have to work late, it's much easier to stay here. Besides, I have the knowledge of the whole library at my fingertips, and I can use the resources of the equipment as I please,
like this computer.
Don't you have one at home?
No, we generally don't have that kind of technology in every household. Though it's not exactly rare either. You just use it where you need it.
Back home, we used to have computers everywhere. Most of us even carried one on our wrists wherever we went. Just showing how sci-fi this 20XX age humanity was.
They called the iWatch and stuff, Mel.
PDA.
The Google Watch.
Google Watch.
Yeah, and PDA too. What the? No, Google! I didn't go for it!
Oh.
Phone went off.
The demons were waiting for your call, Mel, and now they attack. How can I help you?
It pulled up a map for some reason.
Hey Google.
Is it telling you where the portal is?
Okay, that was kind of funny.
It's not the first time this happened during stream too. It's happened a couple of times. I even didn't say the G word. It's happened.
Are you looking for an interdimensional portal to a dragon world? Head north on North Dakota.
Oh, that's where you find wolves.
On Highway 1, take a right turn. Anyway, is that so? Oh, that means the library is closing pretty soon. If you want to do or ask anything in particular, now's the time.
Oh.
Are you available?
Honestly, Remy has done very little to impress so far.
I'd like to know more about your humanness.
There's a lot we can get into, but I'm afraid we don't have enough time right now. Maybe another day? Anyways, thank you for your help. How about I invite you to my place for dinner sometime to repay you?
Oh, that's not necessary. I enjoyed my time here.
I insist.
Alright then. I already have your number, and you probably have mine as well, right?
I do.
Great. Tell me when it's convenient for you then.
I gotta ask, is he just wearing a tie and the rest of his skin is bare, or is he actually wearing a shirt?
No, the rest of the skin
The
is
collar
bare.
has a collar on it and a tie.
Right. It's like a cartoon character. They just have a collar and tie on, but no shirts.
So yeah, it's just the neck piece around his collar and the tie. Okay.
It's his business collar.
He's 95% naked.
I'm
Are you
95? Wow. I had 4 more points than I thought.
I was making the same assumption, Dav.
Anyways, Dev,
Oh, I will. Good night, Mel.
good night, Remy.
Business dab does business.
Business Dav. I wondered whether the dragon was being nice, or just didn't want to feel indebted to me after I helped him. In any case, the time I spent in the library had been enjoyable. I was looking forward to seeing him again. Though, I wondered about his insistence on inviting me to his home. Had I just been asked out by a dragon? I was going to find out soon enough.
Wow, those stars look pretty.
Chapter 3.
Intuition.
Well, it's a tarot card with a moon on it, and the moon just means like hidden secrets.
Yes, ooh, a dragon is asking you out.
And you know what? We're going to do this chapter by chapter, so I am actually going to save this here.
Okay.
I think it's a good... I keep forgetting, that's just a quick save.
Corgi also has Lorem on it. Oh yeah. I'm just thinking it's just certain symbols on tarot cards usually just give you a hint.
I looked into the data files and I'm not entirely sure. I mean, it's plot related, but I don't know if it has that second meaning.
What do you mean second meaning?
The actions you take actually change the cards.
Yes.
Ah, so Lorm was on the card on purpose.
Mm-hmm. Typically, the
Neat.
card shows the path you're following.
Neat.
So
Which
next,
So is this where we're leaving it for this stream?
yep, this is where we're going to be leaving it for this
There we
game.
go. The moon symbolizes hidden enemies, danger, darkness, deception. Yeah, it usually means things that are
That's
hidden
the
from
entire
view.
game.
No, but I'm just saying it's giving you probably a clue. Where the star is something that reveals things, you know. But yes, I'm
Just
trying
wait.
to
Just-
use the clues the game's giving me.
Just wait till you see Anna's card.
So
Well,
I think
I guess we'll have to.
I think he's not what he seems to be. That's why I'm looking at the tarot card.
I still have to agree that Lorm is definitely a blue daff, for Pete's sakes. Good God. He's even talking about many, like, I know it's his roommate, but even still, they're talking about many worlds theory and stuff that I, like, love and know the most about.
The only difference is this blue dev's an artist.
No, I have a silly question.
Yeah, he has artistic skills that I don't.
Sometimes in these dating games, you can pull up a page in a journal or something. It'll show you how much track you're on with the other characters. Does this game let you do that?
I don't think it does that. If memory
Okay.
serves. I mean, you can check a
It
log,
seems
but
to have a very. Yeah, it seems to have a very
Look-
minimal interface. There's no inventory or anything.
There is like hidden pictures you can unlock. The main screen will change as you play the game. Characters will appear, shadows will appear. It'll slowly become day. You do have an inventory. It's just not like a typical inventory you access. It's
Yeah,
just
it's
kind
not
of
an
there.
accessible one. It's a story plot one.
Yeah. Like you
Got
found the
dirt in
bulb.
it.
What?
It's got dirt in it.
No, it doesn't have dirt.
well,
Celestia says you can see the condition of the dateable dragons.
and your points
She
for
says
them.
there. Yeah, she says
your point.
there is a page you can look at points. So I was curious, points wise.
Well,
Oh yes, I do remember, and some of I can't say it.
Yeah, no spoilers.
It hurts sometimes.
I know.
I'm going in blind, and I'm enjoying every minute of this. So yeah.
I like
Well,
it, but